Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Shauna from Shauna-kaye Brown.com, and I am happy to see you. Thanks again for joining me. This evening, I will be covering part 2 of the series on personal development, and I will be speaking about excuses, why it is important to develop a no excuses success strategy. This evening, I will focus on 3 key areas as I discuss this second part of the personal development series. Firstly, I will speak about why it is dangerous to rely on excuses. Why are excuses dangerous? Secondly, I will speak about why it is important to take full responsibility for your actions or for your life. And finally, I will speak about the benefits of attaining self-mastery. Again, guys, thanks again for joining me. I will be speaking on part 2 of the series on personal development, and I will leave the questions for the end of the presentation. I've gotten some feedback from some persons who joined last night who have indicated that they like this method of me just doing the presentation first and then leaving the interaction for the latter part of it. So again, let me just recap that I will be dealing with part 2 of the presentation on personal development, and part 2 focuses on the importance of adapting a no excuses success strategy. This part will cover 3 main topics. 1, why excuses are very dangerous. 2, the importance of taking full responsibility for your life. And 3, the importance of attaining self-mastery, the benefits of attaining self-mastery. Now to the first point, why are excuses dangerous? Excuses are dangerous for the same reason that I have been saying over and over. They're very crippling. They're very debilitating, and they prevent you from being your best self. When you rely on excuses, it allows you to deflect and to place the blame on others and on external factors. It prevents you from taking responsibility for your actions, and it allows you to accept mediocrity as normal. And that's not normal. You're not mediocre because you were made in the image and likeness of God. And as you know, God is all-powerful, omnipresent, omnipotent, and there is no one like him. And if you were made in his image and his likeness, it means that you are not mediocre. It means that you should not settle for complacency. And that is why I'm here to tell you this evening that accepting a life of excuses is very dangerous. Brian Tracy says in one of his short read, No Excuses, that losers make excuses and winners make progress. How do you make progress? You make progress by blaming, by stopping the blame game. Do not blame others or other circumstances for your personal situation right now. You make progress by finding ways to overcome the adversity. You make progress by finding ways to overcome the challenges that you're facing in your life right now. And what I like to say is that constantly making excuses keeps you on someday island. You know that saying, someday I will do this, or one day I will do that. One day I will go and take those driving lessons so I can get my driver's license, just not now. One day I will go ahead and start doing some exercise. I will enroll in a gym, but not right now. Why not now? Why not now? Why are you waiting on someday? Someday is not a day. I've never heard of that day before. And if you can do it someday, if you tell yourself you can do it someday, why don't you do it now? The fact that you have told yourself that you'll do it someday, it means that you are subconsciously accepting that you are capable of doing it. But you're so complacent that you don't want to do it right now. I am saying to you today, make a concerted effort. Make a mental note of the fact that going forward, you're going to bury excuses because they are very crippling and they prevent you from growing. Why is it that you're stuck? Why do you feel so stagnant now that you feel the need to deflect from your circumstances and place the blame on someone else? Why is that? Maybe you have undergone some major tragedy in your life. Maybe you had a very rough beginning in your early days. Maybe it is because right now you're in an abusive relationship and you just don't see a way out. So you keep telling yourself that your progress is being hindered because of this relationship or because of this person. But why? You have options. Never tell yourself that there are no options, because the only time you're out of options is when you die, because at that time there is no chance of you doing anything. But as long as you have life, you have options, albeit limited sometimes. You do have options. So make a concerted effort today that going forward you're going to be mindful of your excuses. I don't expect you to go cold turkey. I don't expect you to leave this video presentation this evening and decide, you know what, as of now I will never have excuses again. That is crazy. I don't expect you to do that. But what I want you to do is to check yourself. Each time you come up with an excuse, stop yourself right there and say, wait, why am I looking at it this way? Because I can say to you, each person watching this video right now and those who will come on later, that I can bet you my last dollar that you can identify at least one person who had a very rough beginning who is successful today. Why is that? Why is that person successful? And if they are, is it possible for you to be successful too? The answer to that question is yes. But you have to look at these people who were able to overcome adversity, able to overcome even similar circumstances like what you're experiencing right now. And why is it that they were able to become successful? Learn from them. Remember, Jack Canfield says success leaves clues. It is not a game of reinventing the wheel. There are clues. There are people who have had similar circumstances with you or like you who are able to guide you because they've written about it and they've been talking about it and they're telling you how you can implement certain strategies to overcome your difficult situation. So what's the difference between you and these others? There really is no difference. You are able to accomplish what it is that you're working on, as long as you make a concerted effort to get rid of the excuses, because that's what's crippling you and that is what is preventing you from becoming your best self. The second point that I want to discuss this evening is why it is important to take full responsibility for your actions. It is important for you to take full responsibility for your life, because if you don't, life is going to program you anyway. And one of the reasons why we don't take responsibility for our actions sometimes is that we seek to blame others. We seek to identify other people who are responsible for our current circumstances. And many times someone else is responsible for you being where you are now. But how many times do you get a positive result when you blame other people or when you blame external circumstances? Most of the time, you do not get any further. The blame game doesn't do anything to advance your circumstances. So why are you blaming others? Take full responsibility for your life. You know what? It's actually harder if you don't, if you think about it. Because when you find someone to blame, what that actually does is that it allows you to relinquish control. And when you don't have control over the situation, you have no power to fix it. So when you start blaming extraneous variables and when you start blaming other people for your current circumstances or for your demise, it prevents you from finding a way to fix it, from digging inside and finding that power that you already possess to fix it. So in order for you to be able to fix that problem that you're experiencing, you have to take some responsibility. If you don't believe me, try it. Even if you know within yourself that it's because of someone else or something that someone else did while you're in these circumstances that you're in right now, believe me, the moment you stop and you say, you know what, Shauna-kaye, I'm going to take responsibility for this and I'm going to fix it. Look and see, try and see how just in that moment you're going to feel empowered. Just by adjusting your mind to that new reality, you're going to feel empowered right there and then. Because that makes you feel like you have a sense of control. And when you have a sense of control, you start looking at ways to fix the situation. There are many great people that I could allude to right now who are successful today who didn't start out that way. They did not come from affluence. For example, Oprah. Oprah is one of my mentors. And for those who know her story, just a figment of part of her story, when she was about 14 years old, she got pregnant and was put out. And fast forward to many years later when she was working at the television station in Chicago, and she had many challenges, one of them being her weight. And one of them being that she was being paid the same amount for a position that a male counterpart was also working in. She was being paid significantly less rather than this other person. That was a major challenge for her because she knew she was competent. She knew she was doing stellar work, maybe even comparable or better than the other person. And when she approached her boss about this, he said, well, you're a female, plus he has family and he has kids to feed. And she said, what does that matter? I am doing the same amount of work. And to that boss at the time, that was of no moment. Oprah could have just said, you know what, I'm going to stay in my lane. I am a female and I'm African American. Let me just stay in my lane and accept my blessings. But she didn't do that. She knew she had a purpose to touch many lives around the world, so she continued to invest in herself. She continued to believe in herself, and she continued to develop herself. She took responsibility for her life because she realized that the system wasn't going to do that. No one else was going to do that, so she had to do it, and that's exactly what she did. Think about the story of S.B. Fuller. S.B. Fuller was the child of a slave, and he was very poor. And when he questioned his mom about it, she said, listen, you don't have to be poor. The only reason why we are poor is because father has never developed a desire to become rich. And that resonated with the young S.B. Fuller at the time. And he thought to himself, maybe I can become rich too. And he started to develop himself. He did not get satisfied with the fact that, you know what, I was born to slavery, I was born to poverty, and I'm just going to stay because those are my unfortunate circumstances. His mom told him that God did not create anybody to suffer or anybody to suffer less. God created everyone to reap a life of abundance, but you had to believe that, you had to invest in yourself, and you had to work toward it. And that's exactly what he did. And for those who know his story, S.B. Fuller went on to build one of the most successful shipping company in that time. So the point I'm making is that once you adjust your mind to the reality that you and you alone are responsible for your life, then you will realize that you are going to remain stagnant if you do not adjust your mind to that reality. But once you adjust your mind to it, you'll realize that you start progressing because you start looking at ways to invest in yourself, whether it is because of you getting more knowledge, acquiring the knowledge that you need, or more skills. And another thing that taking responsibility for your action does is that it allows you to become more confident. Last night I spoke about confidence in part 1 of the personal development series, and when you become more confident, then actually what it does is that it allows you to be able to express yourself in a more positive way. It allows you to become more assertive, and it allows you to believe in yourself more. A part of that confidence and that confidence building is you investing in yourself and taking responsibility for your life rather than saying that someone else is responsible. I see many adults, even in my line of work, who come to sit across from me, and when you ask them, why are you in this situation? They will tell you, oh, I grew up really poor, or my grandmother put me out, or my mom told me I couldn't stay in the house because I was smoking. It's their fault. It's not their fault. You are responsible for your life. And if they made a decision that has affected you in a negative way, it is time for you to stop and say, okay, I need to do something that will give me the life that I want, that will give me the life that I know that I can attain. Because allowing someone else to dictate to me how I live, whether or not I can smoke, whether or not I can drink, what time I can come in at night, that is very limiting. And no one wants to live by that. No one wants to live by those standards. No one wants to live in that way. And if you want to live above that, if you want to reap the life of abundance that you deserve, you have to become responsible. You have to take charge of your life and cleanse your mind of those limiting beliefs that tell you that you cannot do it, that you're a victim of your circumstances. Stop being a victim. Because you know who is a victim? A victim is someone who experienced something that they had no control over, that they could not have prevented. That's who a victim is. You have control over your life. If not 100% control, at least partial control. You have that over your life. So you're not a victim. So stop being a victim of life's difficulties. Stop being a victim of life's challenges and become responsible. Become that strong person who you are inside. And look for ways to build yourself up. Do not tell yourself that because you're poor or because of poverty or because of limited options available to you, you're not going to advance. Some people will say that they don't have the right circumstances, but it has been said that if whenever you see something that you want in life, you should look for the circumstances that will allow you to get there. And if you cannot find those circumstances, create them. What does that tell you? It tells you that you have the ability to create the circumstances that you want. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. There are many people now who are doctors who started out by selling in the market. And I'm sure you cannot see a connection between selling in the market and becoming a doctor. It seems too far removed from each other, too opposite extreme. But at the same time, that person had a vision and a long-term goal. And he or she decided that I'm going to start here. And then I'm going to save my money. And I'm going to do my subjects, or I'm going to get the qualification that I need. And once I get there, I'm going to try to do my best. And when I get the A grade, I'm going to apply for scholarships. The person had a long-term plan, a tunnel vision. That's what you need. You don't have to have all your ducks in a row right now. But the moment you adjust your mind to the reality that you are responsible for your life, and that the circumstances that you find yourself in do not determine how you progress in life, you will realize that there are changes, that the universe will start sending people and opportunities your way. The final point I want to make this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is that there are immense benefits to be attained from self-mastery. And what do I mean by that? Self-mastery is essentially just you investing in yourself and building on your strengths and using those to your advantage. Some time ago, I did a presentation on the importance of strengthening your strengths. Self-mastery actually starts with assessment. You basically do some introspection, you assess yourselves, and you look at what skills and abilities you have. Once you've assessed your skills and your abilities, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and assess your strengths and your weaknesses. But what I don't want you to do is to dwell on the weaknesses. Look at the things that you're good at and begin to invest in those things. Develop those things and hone them. And then channel those strengths into the thing that you feel like you could spend the rest of your life doing. Believe me, take that approach and see how much that will catapult you into a different level, into a different dimension. It will catapult you to a point where you will just look back and say, I can't believe that was me. I can't believe just 5 short years ago, that's where I was. You can attain self-mastery, but you have to be developing yourself daily. You have to be developing yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. You have to develop all areas of your life. And that's how you develop self-mastery. And it never stops. It's an ongoing process. Once you stop growing, you become stagnant and you become frustrated. So every single day you have to tell yourself that you're going to grow. You're going to abandon the excuses. You're going to take full responsibility for your life. And ultimately, you're going to master your life. You're going to develop self-mastery. So just to recap, ladies and gentlemen, what have we discussed? We have discussed the importance of developing a no excuses life, or rather approach to success. I have specifically spoken about the importance of not accepting excuses because they are very dangerous. The second point is why it is so important and significant for you to take full responsibility for your life. And finally, when you take responsibility for your life and you invest in yourself into all facets of your life, you develop self-mastery. When you develop self-mastery, people will start listening to you. People will start paying attention to you. And self-mastery can be in anything that you love, even if it seems unorthodox. You know, quirky is a word that has been thrown around lately, especially in the 21st century. It is actually a good thing now to be quirky, to stand out, to be different. So don't be afraid of being different. Don't be copycats. If you find that there is something that you love that is different from what everybody else is doing, channel your energy into that thing. Believe me, if you believe in it and you're confident about it, soon other people will see it from your perspective. So ladies and gentlemen, just continue to build on yourself, continue to develop yourself, continue to invest in yourselves, and you will find that you will in time reap a life of abundance. I am glad that I can help. I feel happy when I'm able to share the little that I know with you, because I am growing, I'm learning from you, and I hope that you can get some utility from what I am sharing as well. So if you want to learn more about what it is that I have to offer, mainly brain food, feel free to visit my website, which is in the link. It is www.Shauna-kaye Brown.com. Or you can follow me on Instagram at SKB Renaissance Woman, or on Twitter at sk_brown. It is always my pleasure to come on and to share with you. If you have any questions, any suggestions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section and I will get to them as soon as this video ends. I thank you all so much for joining me. I thank you, Susanna, Allison. I saw Crystal earlier. Miss Powell, thank you all for joining me. And just know that I am here to help for as long as I can. And I'm very grateful that you have taken some time out of your weekend to come on and to listen to me share these few words of encouragement with you. And I hope to see you tomorrow when I will be discussing part 3 in the series on personal development. Until next time, have a great night and God loves you. Take care.